All right, on to the Middle East. President Trump calling off a wave of strikes in Iran, citing new progress on a potential deal with the regime.
But the commander-in-chief says U.S. forces remain locked, loaded, and ready to go if needed.
Our chief foreign correspondent, Trey Yingst, is live in Tel Aviv with the latest. Good morning, Trey.
Yeah, hey guys, good morning. For now, the strikes against Iran have been called off. President Trump posted to Truth Social overnight talking about the request that he received from Iran and other Middle Eastern countries to hold off any attack, in that the perimeters of a deal has been agreed to. This would include the immediate, complete, and total opening of the Hormuz Strait and an end to Iran's nuclear threat. Reports do indicate that assurances were made by Iran's foreign minister, one of the country's top negotiators. Secretary Rubio told Fox News that while these negotiations unfold, the regime must change their behavior.
I think the regime has to change. You may not have a regime change, but the regime has to change. The Iranian regime traditionally has been expeditionary. In essence, their view is they don't want to just govern Iran. They want to govern the region. They want to export their revolution. That does have to change. And the only way you're going to change that is if you make the price of it too high for them to be able to pay.
Before the latest diplomatic breakthrough, Iran attacked additional vessels in the Strait of Hormuz late last week, causing damage to at least one tanker. The Iranians also launched fresh drone attacks at Kuwait. At a cabinet meeting at Camp David on Friday, the president described his displeasure with the way the Iranians have negotiated while continuing destabilizing activity.
I'm losing faith in them because they do lie and they do misrepresent. Well, the other day, the 5 missiles were shot. We knocked them down, but we were in the midst of a negotiation. I mean, I'm waiting for Steve to call me. How's the negotiation going? And instead, I got a call from Pete that they just shot 5 missiles at one of our bases in Jordan.
President Trump giving the Iranians an olive branch here to reach an agreement. We'll see if they take it. Guys?
Well, that's the question, Trey. And the president has shown incredible patience in an effort to hold out for diplomacy to get a deal. But are you getting any sense that it's going to be different now? The MOU ended up not working, another negotiation. Iran just keeps going back to doing exactly what they've been doing, and these negotiations don't go anywhere. What should we expect this week?
It's a challenging landscape for the Trump administration because they are dealing with not only an unstable regime, but an unpredictable regime. And we saw this last week as the president sent his negotiators to try and reach a deal with Iran. The Iranians launched missiles toward U.S. forces in Jordan. And I spoke with the president the next morning, and he said, was this an April Fool's joke? Because this is what they're dealing with at the negotiating table. The Iranians not only come out and say one thing publicly and then something different behind the scenes, they're often not good faith actors whenever they sign an agreement. And so the question remains if they will be willing to adhere to this deal that is in the works right now, whether or not it will be sustainable. And then ultimately, we have to remember that the president has strategic patience here. There is still a massive U.S. military buildup across the Middle East, more than 50,000 U.S. service members, destroyers, fighter jets, tankers, all prepared. If these talks fall apart, the president does have military options on the table.
You know, one of the interesting things, as you just mentioned, Iran is trying to play games with time because they think they kind of have time on their side. But I feel like they're kind of dealing with a president of the United States that they've never dealt with before, or an adversary they've never dealt with before, because in a weird way, time plays maybe a little bit in their favor because we've got the midterm elections coming up, but it also plays against them in some ways. The best deal they'll ever get from President Trump is today. Come November 4th, after the midterms, whatever deal Iran might have thought they might have been able to get today is going to go out the window, and Trump is going to go full unleashed on them.
Absolutely. And look, we have to look at the statements made to the domestic audience in Iran. They often don't match the reality of the situation. When we look at the facts on the ground, the Iranians are losing hundreds of millions of dollars each and every day as a result of the U.S. naval blockade of Iranian ports. They've had to slash their crude oil exports, their domestic exports, and a variety of cost-cutting measures internally. There are reports that indicate they can't even pay their own soldiers because they are losing so much money as a result of this economic pressure put in place by the blockade. And so the Iranians are the ones that are trying to work against the clock here. And again, it gives the president a variety of options. When these windows open for the possibility of an agreement, he can explore them, but maintain that military posture across the region.
All right.
Trey Yingst, always appreciate it.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Trey.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.